What are we really trying to accomplish in health education? It's a simple and yet fair question. It's one that each of us need to be able to answer. Welcome to Health Ed with Cougar. Today we're talking about the goal of health education. I asked you to think real quick about some other topics that we teach in schools. Think about a math class, for example. Have we ever criticized a math teacher because a large portion of the population can't balance their checkbook or live within their means? Probably not. Have you ever heard of criticism of a civics or a history teacher because of low voter turnout? Probably not. And yet, health teachers are frequently criticized because of things like driving under the influence, obesity, or sexual assault. Boy, if the health teachers were simply doing their job, we wouldn't have any of these social ills. Now, it's not fair, and yet the criticism will continue. There's something that we need to do and something that we can change, a subtle change, which I think will make all the difference in the world. I've observed hundreds of health education classrooms and lessons. And if I were to think back and reflect on what's the actual goal of health education based on my observations, you might think that the goal is for young people to be able to list the carcinogens in tobacco smoke. You might think that the goal is for students to be able to model the male reproductive system with Tinker Toys. And you might think that the goal of health education is for young people everywhere to be able to list and describe in great detail micronutrients. And yet, truthfully, that's not what we're about. We don't care if young people can identify that cadmium is an ingredient in tobacco. We don't want young people to smoke. And we don't care that a young person can describe in great detail the vas deferens, circumference, length, function. We don't want young people to have an unplanned pregnancy or contract a sexually transmitted infection or engage in or be the victim of a sexual assault or any discrimination based on sexuality. And we certainly don't care that young people can explain, again, in some level of detail, what riboflavin and niacin do for the body. We want them to maintain a balanced diet, to eat a diversity of foods, and to maintain a healthy weight. So we have to fundamentally change what it is we're doing and how we're going about this in the health education classroom. Very important for us. We need to shift from teaching content knowledge to teaching skills, and moreover, teaching skills, allowing students to practice skills. And it's something we can do, and yet we won't be able to until we begin to prune back the knowledge-based curriculum. There are so many of us who just believe that, well, a young person simply isn't educated until they know some of these gee whiz facts and figures and health content. And again, that's not our goal. Just because someone knows things about health does not mean that they are healthy. So, as simply as I can state it, the goal of health education is to help young people adopt and maintain healthy behaviors. It's something that we can do, it's something that we must do, but we won't get there until we abandon our heavy focus on content knowledge, and again, until we prune back some of our favorite lessons and some of the activities that students just love, but which do not help them. So, to very quickly sum things up, we care far less about students' knowledge about smoking, about tobacco. We don't want them to smoke. We care far less about students being able to label and describe and to chart the course of the sperm through the reproductive system, and far more about them avoiding unplanned and unwanted pregnancies and preventing sexually transmitted infections. We care far less about their ability to navigate the back of a cereal box and know what riboflavin and niacin are. We care far more about their ability to plan healthy meals, to eat a diversity of good, healthy foods, and to maintain a proper energy balance and avoid obesity. So if we're going to really ever get there in health education, and we're going to really have the outcomes that we need, we have to adopt as our goal helping young people adopt and maintain healthy behaviors. This has been Health Ed with Cougar. Thanks so much.